So if you've been watching the Belleville real estate market, or really any real estate market in Ontario, you've probably heard of the number, the days on market. How long it takes for a house to sell. But honestly, this number can be a little bit misleading. In today's video, we're going to talk about the stats that just came in for February of 2026 here in Belleville and Quinte West. But that number that I just referenced there, it can be played with a little bit. And honestly, when you look at the markets overall, there's a little bit of trickery going on and it can be very inaccurate. And when I talk with people, I want them to be informed. So hopefully by the end of this video, you are going to be informed so you can make the right decision. We're going to look at 4 things in particular in this order. We're first going to look at the number of sales, the average sale price, the months of inventory, and average days on market. Just wanted to say a quick hello. My name is Jeremy Tremblay. I'm a local realtor that works here in the Belleville and surrounding areas. I've been working in this area for many years, helping people relocate from the GTA, from all over Canada, even from all over the world, finding a home and making Belleville and Trenton and Quinte West their home. So if you have any questions after this video, you want to keep the discussion going, I would love to hear from you. My information is down in the description. Send me an email, we'll set up a call and we'll chat. So first off, we will look at the number of sales. So when we look at what came in here in February 2026, we had 70 total sales between Belleville and Quinte West together. And if we look at that year over year, last year in February of 2025, we were just around 75 total sales for the month. So very similar between the 2 months right now. If you want to look at where we've been the last few months leading up to this, we have had a steady decline since May, where you see the peak, all the way down until January of 2026. January, as I mentioned last month, a terrible month in terms of snowfall. And the amount of snow days the kids had at school was a little ridiculous, so everyone was kind of stuck inside. So we expected sales to be down in that month, which then meant that sales should be up in February. That's what we're starting to see here. And so is this because of a spring market, or is this because people are finally able to get out? Anyone's guess there, but we are seeing a little bit more on that front. And now, once you know the number of sales, the next thing that you want to know is the average sale price. And we look here, the average sale price this past month in February did jump to $583,000, which is a fairly significant jump. If you look year over year, last year, we were more around the $530,000 for the average. Now, one thing I want to mention here, and this is something I may make another video on, and if you're interested in that, put a comment down below and I might do a separate video on it. But the average versus the median. Generally, I watch those every month and the average and median can be similar, but this month, quite different. The average being $583,000, whereas the median house price in this area, $517,000. Quite a drastic difference. And if you're not aware of the average price, they just take all of the house prices and add them all up and divide it by the total and you get an average. Whereas the median is put them all in order, lowest to high priced homes, and what's in the middle. That's your median. I would honestly say the median is more representative of what the average house price is for the area, whereas the stat for the average house price going up and down, what that shows you is are more houses that are expensive starting to sell, so it's pushing things that way, or cheaper homes largely selling, which pushes it the other way. And so something to be aware of, something I'm going to kind of let people know going forward. May do another video on that if it's something that interests you. Now, prices and sales numbers don't tell us the whole story. If you really want to know how competitive a market really is, what you want to look at is the months of inventory. Months of inventory, I kind of explained to most people in that if you have all the homes that are on the market right now, they've come on the market and they keep selling at the same rate. How long, if no new homes were added, how long would it take for us to sell all those homes? It's kind of like the inventory in a store. People have been coming in twice a day buying it and they've got a certain amount on the shelf, but they stop stocking it. How long until everything's been purchased? If it all sells out in a day, okay, months of inventory, really low. If it takes forever to sell all that out, okay, it's taking a while, months of inventory is high. The numbers often seen used here, 0 to 3 months of inventory, okay, that's a seller's market. They're moving quickly. Between that 3 to 5, you're kind of in the balanced territory. Anything 5 and above, buyers have a little bit more option, and the competition, well, it's in their favor at that point. Looking at where we are right here, months of inventory for this past month came in at 5.8 months of inventory. So as I just said, we are over that 5 months, and we have been in that territory for quite some time. August of last year, we hit that 5 months of inventory. We hovered, and then we jumped above, and we were up towards 6. And so we've been there in the higher 5s towards 6 months of inventory now for the last 4 months. Whereas you look at the beginning of last year, we were at 4.5 months of inventory in February, and then we dropped down closer to 3. And so as you can see, we were in the balanced territory, going towards almost the seller territory, and then we shot right back up. And that's where we've been standing right now with the current market right now. And honestly, this, to me, very much feels accurate as to what the sentiment is right now in the local market, where people are coming from with respect to their buying or selling. And that leads us to a stat that a lot of people look at when they're trying to learn how fast homes are selling. Days on market. As I said at the beginning, this here is a stat that often people will reference. If you go on realtor.ca, type it in. Many people do that. I joke often that it's the Canadian pastime that people love to go and just search real estate. Whether they're looking to buy or sell, they just want to be aware and or snoop on the neighbor's new listing. And they go on, you type it in, you find any given home and click on it. You go down a little bit and you will see a portion that says time on realtor.ca. That is the total days on market to this point. And when we look at the stat, what it's taken into account is how long does it take from when it was put on the market to when it sells. And so people are aware the selling portion, if a house is on the market for say a week, 7 days, and then somebody puts an offer in and they have a condition of financing inspection, and that takes a week in and of itself. At the end of the week, they decide, yes, we're going to move forward. We're going to purchase this home. They complete that deal and that paperwork, and then officially it is sold. Well, the first 7 days plus those 7 extra days for inspections, 14 days, that home was on the market for 14 total days. Except that number can very much be skewed. And here's where most people don't quite understand, and they might see it and they might notice it on realtor.ca, but they don't really understand the implications of it and what's happening with the market. And so what goes on here is if someone's had their home on the market, and let's give an example of they've had it on the market now and it's been 90 days. They're not getting any traction. No one's coming to see the home anymore, and they've decided we're going to make a change. It could be that they're changing up some photos, they've done some work on the home, they might change the price. And they go ahead, they make the change in the price and the adjustments, and they wait. Problem is, on realtor.ca, when you open it up, it will bring up all the newest homes, and you will then sort through them, what's come on the market recently. And then after you get to the first, second page, you realize, okay, I've already seen all these because I check every day, and you stop looking. Well, that house that just made the change, it's on the 10th page at this point. You won't ever see the changes. So the only strategy that realtors really have in that situation is to take it down and then relist it with the potential change, like a price change, and then it will pop back up as a new listing. You will see it at the new price, and then it will show 1 day on market. New listing. And then during that time period, somebody likes it, and let's say it sells within 30 days. Well, it will show on the stats that that is a 30 days on market, and that's how long it took for that home to sell. Well, in reality, we know it's been on the market for 90 previous to that. So 120 days is the true stat. And 30 versus 120 is a pretty drastic difference. And if you were to add all those situations with the true length of time, this stat would change drastically, especially in an area like Belleville and Trenton, Quinte West, because there are just much less data. So any one of these can have a larger impact as a whole. And so when we look at this here, days on market for this past month, it came in at 44 days on market, which is down. We saw the huge jump there in January, where it was upwards of 70 days. And that same thing happened in last year, January 2025. It had a spike. So I suggested suggested last month that this might be the case where houses that had been sitting were finally starting to sell. And the data from the month where they all sold came in, and they had been sitting on the market so long that the days on market went up. But those houses were being cleared out, and now we're back to houses selling a little bit more in realistic timeframes because the ones that have been sitting forever have been sold. But I do caution people with this number that it's not entirely accurate. And when I'm working with somebody, one of the main things, first things I do is I go and I look at the history from the back end, and I try to recognize what is actually going on with this property. What's the history? Because that has a big impact in terms of negotiations and what it is that you're going to be doing with that property and your timeline with it as well. With all those numbers, the main question that comes from that is, okay, what's the summary? What is happening in this local market right now when we take in all this information? From my perspective, boots on the ground, people are starting to show up. The weather is getting nicer. We're getting into the positives, no more negative digits in terms of temperature. And people are a little bit more optimistic from that sense because they've been sitting, watching Realtor.ca through the winter, and they're ready to get out there and start looking. Now, are they all throwing offers around? No. But we are seeing things happen. Transactions are happening, and also listings are coming to the market. People are saying, I'm ready to make a move this year. Now that the weather's changing, let's get the house on the market. Let's start preparing and see what happens. And as I've suggested in previous months, the main question we're going to have every single month, and we're going to keep looking at this, is the total listings versus total sales, that whole months of inventory stat. That's going to be a big factor. Are more people listing their homes versus buyers available, or are there going to be more buyers versus homes that come available? And that will be a main factor as to what direction this local market will be heading. As I said in the beginning, my name, Jeremy Trombley, local realtor that works here in this area. I hope you found this video helpful. Hopefully this just adds to the knowledge that you have, keeps you aware of what's going on. And as I said, if you're moving from outside of the area and you're looking to make this area your home and you're just contemplating it, it could be years in the future, but you want to just start the conversation. I do that all the time. I love having those conversations, giving people knowledge so they can help them make the best decision for them and their family. So please give me a shout. My information down below. Send me an email. We'll set up a call and we'll keep the conversation going. Till next time.